All right, recording's on. Hi, you guys. Welcome to another subscriber first wholesale deal interview. This is number 9. I'm going to have our special guest share with you guys how he made $6,004 on his most recent wholesale deal that he just closed at the age of 18. Come on, you guys. I hope this will inspire and motivate those of you who haven't got your first wholesale deal done to go and get it done. All right, and if you guys do enjoy this video, and if it adds any kind of value to you, then please don't be shy. Smash that thumbs up for me. And if you haven't joined the family and the channel, then you guys smash that subscribe button. But okay, let's get right into it. Let's help me welcome our special guest, Brian Alejandro from Los Angeles, California. What up, buddy? Brian, having some connection issue, buddy. Man, you're good, but
what's up?
Brian.
Are we good?
We're good, but I can bear. Hold on a second here. We're good, but I can't see you. Earlier was good, but I kind of see your shadow, and you froze up, dude. We having the same problem when I go live. Perfect. I can see you.
Okay.
Ryan, dude, let's do it, man. So share with everybody your stories, and then how you got into, at the age of 18, how do you discover this business? What makes you, want to jump in this? And obviously, man, how do you execute your first wholesale deal at the age of 18, bro?
Okay, for sure. So yeah, Kong, at first, I wanted to be an agent. I wanted to get into the agent side of it. When I was studying to get my license, I was working with a real estate agent, and he was having me cold call for him, like just cold calling, and he was paying me cold calling for him. And he told me about, I asked him, like, so how can I make money like in real estate right now as I'm getting my license? And he was telling me about how he got properties under contract and that he wanted to purchase because he was an investor as well. But he didn't want to, like, if he didn't want to move on them, he would sell them over to his friends for $5,000, $10,000. So I was like, what is this called? Like, how do I get into this? And I want to start this now. Like, and he told me about, it was called wholesaling. He told me it was called flipping paper. It's called flipping paper, which is, I found out that that's basically wholesaling. So I did my research. I went on YouTube. I found out a bunch of videos. I watched your videos, and this was 5 months ago, 4 to 5 months ago, when I got into it. So I just went from there, man. I started researching, watching a bunch of videos, going to the local RIAs, networking with people, and I just started taking action as soon as I watched the videos. I bought some bandit signs, put them up. Man, Kong, it took a lot of failures, man. Like, I've gotten so many deals under contract, but like they never went through, man. They didn't end up closing at the end. So finally, I came across this one. But yeah. So that's basically how I got into it. Okay,
cool, man. So basically, I suppose you graduated high school, Brian?
Yeah, I graduated high school.
You graduated high school, so do you plan to go to college, or were you just wanting to all of a sudden discover being an agent, and then it led you down to the path of wholesaling?
So yeah, no, I went to college. I went to college for 2 weeks. I dropped out. It wasn't for me, Kong. I didn't want that route. And I knew beforehand I didn't want college at all. I was always an entrepreneur since young. I started a clothing line in high school, which, ended up failing. But, it was never all I wanted college and this, but I just did it because, my parents, they kind of forced me to. But at the end, I just decided it wasn't for me and I wanted to take a different route. So, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that just changed my life. Like, it just changed the way I view everything. And, that's how I wanted to be an agent at first. But when I found out wholesaling, it just blew my mind. How much, how much money you're making, Kong, and you're helping people along the way. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, that's what I want to do.
Hey, Brian, thanks, man. You definitely stayed in school way longer than I did, bro. So you got into, so you started about 5 months ago, right, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay, you started 5 months ago, and you just recently closed your first wholesale deal.
Yeah.
April 27th, 2018, correct?
Yes.
Right? Okay, so.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, let's get into your deals. Could you share with everybody like how you got the deals and buyers, found the buyer, etc.?
So you want me to talk about this one or like the rest, the ones before that failed?
Oh, you know what? Actually, it's nice to why don't you share a little bit about your failure first, and then let's get into this. That's a good point.
Sounds good. Okay, so when I put some bandit signs out, I think I put out 100. I got some calls. And to be honest, Kong, some of them were deals, but I wasn't prepared at the time. To be honest with you, like I didn't really know how to handle the calls that were coming in. One of the guys that called me, I'm still dealing with him today, Kong. I still haven't got it under contract, but I didn't get any deals from that. I didn't get any contracts from that until next month I put out another 200 bandit signs, and I got a deal from that. Well, a contract from that. It was a vacant land up in Victorville. I got that on the contract for, I believe, 18 grand, and I tried to flip it for 20, but turns out that the area that it was in was terrible, so nobody wanted to move on it. People were offering me 10 grand for it, but the seller wasn't willing to go down, so that failed. Another one was when I put out some direct mail. I sent out some direct mail pieces the next month, and I've got a call from this lady who says she has a house in Ohio, and I went down. I went down to meet with her at a Starbucks, and man, she was giving me a hard time, Colin. Like she was really concerned about my young age, and how she said like, oh, how are you gonna buy my house? And you're like, how old are you? She was asking me and all these questions, and at the time I wasn't confident, and that's what I believe it was. I believe I wasn't confident enough to just get past that. I basically let her walk over me, and she wasted my time. I got it on the contract, but the next day she called me and said she wants to cancel everything, so it was just done. So that was hard. I didn't stop though. I just kept going. Next one, I got a call from a bandit sign. It was wholesalers. It was two wholesalers called me saying they had a house in LA, a duplex. I got that under contract with them, with the wholesalers. But the guy that we were dealing with, man, he was just nuts. He was just, it was hard to deal with as well, man. It was super hard to deal with. He was going to go to foreclosure. They called me a week before he was going in. So, I didn't have any time. I got a buyer. We went down there. They said they wanted it, but they ended up saying they want a $5,000 reduction. And that just pissed the seller off. And he's like, you know what? I'm just going to give it to the bank. And then, that failed again. So that was hard too, but I kept going, Kong. So, basically, I started cold calling. I've noticed that I still have some leads from that I haven't actually closed on yet, but I'm still working on those. But yeah, man. So this one, I got a call. I believe it was the 30th of last month. This one took a while to close. So this was March 29th. I remember because I had a dentist appointment that day to go take out my wisdom teeth, and I got a call in the morning, Kong. My appointment was at 11, and they called me like at 10. It was a lady. She said that she wanted to sell her house. She wanted to sell her house because her husband passed away, and she didn't want to deal with it. Too many bad memories. She just wanted to get rid of it, right? So there I am at the dentist, man, negotiating with her, calling. You know, I gave her a price, ran some numbers on my phone real quick, and we came to agreement. We came into agreement. The next day, actually, we didn't come to agreement on the phone. I told her, she said she was going to talk to her daughter about the price I gave her. But the next day, I met up with her, and, you know, we came to agreement there. So I got the contract signed, and, you know, I blasted it out to my buyers that I had collected over time. And, you know, there was this wholesaler that my partner, basically, that we've been working. He's been helping me out, mentoring me a lot. And, you know, I blasted out to him, and he said, yo, I got a buyer right now, Brian. Like, don't blast it out to anybody else. Like, I got a buyer. He wants to close. Let's do it. So next day, I set it up for them to come check it out. The guy came. He said he was interested. He said he wanted to buy it. I got it under contract for 354, and we were asking for 367. So in total, the spread was, I believe, 13 grand. So, you know, he ended up saying he was interested, but he wanted to schedule inspection period. And, you know, I was like, you know, I've heard a lot of things about that. Like, I was like, nah, man, like, you know, this deal is hot. I don't want to wait for anybody. What if this guy doesn't come through? So my partner, his name is Eric, he's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, you're right. We should probably just go find someone else. And so next day, no, actually the same day, he got a call from another buyer that he has. And he said he wanted it. He said, don't show it to anybody else. It's ours. We got it. So the next day they came, checked it out. They were interested, and they said, okay, we'll get it under contract today. Send me your email and everything. But I do want to have I want to have a foundation expert to come check out the foundation because it looks messed up. So, you know, I said, okay, no problem. They came the next day, and check this out, Con. So when I pulled up to the house the next day, because I was supposed to meet them, but I guess they didn't know I was going to be there. Man, there was like 6 Teslas, BMWs, all these fancy cars, guys with like Gucci shoes and all this stuff. And I was like, man, what is going on? This does not look normal, man. So I went up to the buyer, and I said, yo, what's going on, man? Like, what is this? And he's like, oh, it's some foundation experts. I was like, man, you gotta be kidding, man. You're wholesaling this, right? He's like, yeah. And I was like, damn. I was like, okay. But at the time, Kong, I was kind of mad because, you know, I wasn't sure that they were going to go through with it, like what was going to go on. But, you know, I just went with the flow. I just went with it. They said that they when everybody left, he came up to me and said, you know, we're going to close on it regardless. We're going to do a double close. We handle it $2 million a month, every month. Like, this is not going to be a problem at all. So, you know, I just went with the flow. You know, so we waited. And, yeah, we were scheduled to close from 2 weeks from there, Kong. But what had happened was that the seller, she had like a second mortgage that nobody knew about. It's called a CALFH loan. I don't know if you ever heard those, but so that came up out of nowhere. So that delayed the process, Kong. It delayed it for like 2 weeks. You know, so we were supposed to close. We were supposed to close on the 16th, I believe, but we ended up closing on the 27th. So, you know, that was a little delay, but you know, we still got paid. So that's good.
Nice, man. Well, Brian, first, man, I want to say congrats, dude. At the age of 18, started 5 months ago, and then all of a sudden, just recently execute your first wholesale deal and made $6,004. Dude, that's pretty amazing. So, I want to say congrats, and let's go ahead and kind of break everything down a little bit here for everybody to understands a little bit here. So basically, so 5 months ago, so did you, when you started, and you know, at the time you want to become an agent, and then after that, did that agent become your mentor, or you found, or you found, because I know you mentioned some wholesaler mentors.
Yeah. So basically, Kong, what it was is that I when I was putting out my signs, I noticed this one sign in particular. Everybody else was putting their signs like on the middle of the telephone pole, like the highest it can. And I noticed one sign that was everywhere I went. It said "I buy houses," just simple. It was put towards the bottom of the telephone pole. So that just kind of like caught my eye, and I was like, "Wait, what is this guy doing, man? I don't know what he's doing, but it might work because he's putting them everywhere. He's everywhere I go." So I called him. I called him up and I told him, "Hey, man, I'm just a new wholesaler. I'm a new wholesaler here in LA. I was wondering if maybe we could link up, talk, and I probably have a deal for you that we could co-host, we could work on." So that's what it was, Kong. We linked up the next day. He taught me a lot of things. He taught me about where to put the banner signs, how many to put, when to take them off, and as well as direct mail, what to do with that, where to get my list from. So he taught me a lot, Kong. We ended up being partners on this deal. After like 5 months of just grinding out and just bugging them sometimes, texting them, asking them questions, it finally, it finally came, man.
Cool, man. So so how long has he been in, I guess, how long has he been wholesaling?
I think he's been wholesaling for maybe 2 years.
Okay. And so he's willing to kind of share everything with you. Is it for free? Do you have to pay? Like what's the structured deal here?
So no, man, everything was free, man. He didn't ask me for a dime. He didn't ask me for anything whatsoever. He just wanted to help me out. He saw that I was working. He saw that I brought him a deal and that we were going to close on, but we didn't end up closing on that one. But, he still saw that I was putting in the effort. And that's one thing that I want to tell everybody as well, Kong, is that when you're reaching out for a mentor and you're reaching out for someone, you can't just come up to them and expect them to give you everything for free. Like you have to provide value to them, and you have to give them something in exchange. So what I gave him in exchange was that I told him, I'm coming across these deals, man. We could co-host on some. So that's what it was. He didn't ask me for anything. He didn't ask me for any money, but he saw that I was putting in the work. So I guess that's what made him want to help me out.
Cool, man. And see, and that's the thing I want to share with everybody is in life, there's never something for nothing. And when you come and ask for help, especially when you first start out, you have no money to pay your way, you have to bring some kind of a value to the other party. You can't just come and ask and ask. You got to be able to let them know that what kind of value can you add in this? Can you add to them? So that will make some people, that will make some want to help you. Most people just want to come and ask and not giving anything in return. So, dude,
Exactly.
That's awesome, man. At the age of 18, with that kind of mindset, that's awesome, bro. So now, as far as so bandit sign goes, so you started putting out 100, then you start putting out 200.
Yeah. So basically, every time I try to level some up, I try to put more. The thing that I would say that I messed up on, Kong, is that every time I was putting out bandit signs, I put out a different design. I put out a different design because what I was initially thinking, putting up these signs, they're not working. I'm not getting that many calls. Maybe it's the design on it. So I was putting out different designs, but I just found out that that's the wrong way to do it. It's all about branding. It's all about the same message that you're putting out. It usually takes it's not going to take one sign for someone to call you. It's just going to take like 3 signs, just watching them, passing on the way to work. You're like, okay, I see the sign everywhere. I might as well give them a call. So that's what I learned. That's one mistake that I would recommend to everybody. If you're putting out your signs, just go with one solid design and just put them out. That's it.
Cool, man. That's a great tip. So now I want to dive into is that you said that you start getting some leads and talking to self. What was your biggest obstacles as far as as far as trying to overcome and lock and deal up on the contract?
I say the biggest obstacle, Kong, was that I wasn't really confident in myself in the beginning. I was nervous. Like, you could tell in my voice, I was nervous. Like, I knew right off the bat that, you know, nobody's going to take me serious right now. Like, I have to better myself. You know, I started going to Toastmasters, which is basically like little events that to help better your public speaking. And I just started to invest in in myself more before I went out and just right off the bat try to expect someone, because you have to think about it, Kong, this is someone that's selling a house to you, like a house, which means so much to them. And you have to gain that level of confidence of them to even think about going with you. So, you know, I guess that was the biggest obstacle, being unprepared, basically. You know, just putting out the signs, but not really have like the right tools. You know, I didn't even have a script, Kong. I didn't even have a script. I just picked up the phone and just, you know, hi, yeah, I'm helping you. Like, it's just, you know, so.
Right. So Brian, tell me if I understand you correctly or if I'm wrong. So basically, yeah, you were taking massive actions, putting out your bandit sign, doing your marketing, networking with people, but you were having trouble talking to the sellers, so that way you can give them, you know, the peace of mind, the confidence, and also too is that trust to be able to do business with you, because you didn't know how to talk to them, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, okay, you guys got to understand, Brian, I was in your shoes 5 years ago, and that's exactly what I did, and I didn't know exactly what was wrong. And that's why in this business, to me, talking to seller is so important. And once you know how to talk to them, it's so much easier to convert the leads that comes in into deals. Brian, I was just like you. I was taking massive actions. I was cold calling. I was spending $1,000 every single month sending out my marketing. And when I get all these calls coming in, looking back, if I knew what I knew how to talk to seller now, dude, I would have probably got my deals within like the first 30 days or so. But because I don't, because we're all starting out, we're all new, we don't know what to say, what questions to ask, how to talk to them. And I've lost so many deals. And, you know, after 6 months, and then my mentor, I talked to my mentor, and he was like, he's actually talked to my wife and said, hey, has Con picked up any deals? What's going on? He realized that, yes, Con got a lot of calls coming in off our marketing, but he's not getting any deals. Maybe I was thinking that because these sellers are not motivated to sell. But you know what? I was wrong. And my mentor said, no, there's a problem. And he said the problem is Con probably don't know how to talk to seller. So he got on the phone with me, listened to my call, and Brian, I was just like you. I was like, yeah. I was answering, like, sometimes they'll say something and I didn't even know the answer to it, but I make some random things up and it sounds weird. It sounds awkward. And just like when you were meeting with that one lady, she just felt untrust she felt untrust, and she just felt more like something is not right. And when you give them that kind of feelings, they're not going to do business with you. And especially if you want to do it virtually, where you can wholesale and tie the property up under contract on the phone, you got to know what to say and how to talk to seller. And I was wasting so much of my marketing money because that's the thing I should have learned first, is that get a couple of kind of questions and things to ask and talk to seller before I really send out my marketing. But you know what? But taking action is the key. So now, Brian, let's get back into is that direct mail. What and probably everybody wants to know is where you're getting your list and what list are you targeting?
Okay, so when I started off the direct mail, Kong, I was getting my list off listsource.com, and I was targeting absentee owners. The first time I sent out the mail, I didn't get much response, and I felt it was because my targeting wasn't as pinpoint as I wanted it to be. So what I started doing was that I started getting into this other software that I use. It's called Property Radar. Basically, you can pick up a list of pre-foreclosures, high equity, absentees, but more targeted. So what I did was that I targeted pre-foreclosures this time, and I've gotten calls from that, but they didn't end up being deals. But I started getting more calls and more momentum from those. So that's how I started the direct mail.
Gotcha. Okay. And
yeah.
how much money were you spending on direct mail a month?
I think I was spending maybe like $150.
Okay, cool. And see, you guys, a lot of times when people are seeing how much we're spending in marketing now, they'll be like, well, come, I don't have the $30,000 or $40,000 to spend a month. What I'm telling you guys is we all start somewhere. And when I first started, I didn't start at that amount. I was starting at $1,000 a month. And right here, Brian is starting at $100, $150 a month. So whatever you can put into your marketing money doesn't have to be that amount. It's more about being consistent, just like Brian was saying. Consistent with your branding when you're putting up these standard sign. That's a great tip. And being consistent with your marketing. Now, Brian, quick question for you: when you talk to these sellers, are you representing yourself, or are you representing a company, or a partnership, or what?
I'm representing myself, Kong. I've heard about you saying that you should represent your company, and yeah, I like that idea as well. But as of right now, I'm representing myself mainly because I don't have an LLC right now, and I've actually tried doing what you do, but they ended up asking me, where's your office at? Where's your office location? Where's your address? How many, they just started at who's your manager and all these questions. And at the time I just felt it was much easier for me to just represent myself. Usually I do say I have a partner too. So me and my partner, we're looking to buy your house basically. But I never really say, I have a company as of right now, but I'm probably starting to do that as soon as I get my other things set up. But that's what works for me right now, Con.
Cool, man. Hey, that's completely fine. And the reason why I asked Brian that is because when I first started, it happens to me the exact same thing. Is that when he goes and let's just say when you go and meet these sellers, they'll be like, well, he looks so young. He looks so young. How can he afford to buy my property, etc.? But let's say Brian was representing a company to go out there, or maybe part of a partnership, and all he does is he just go out there and negotiate and talk about pricing with the seller. Now the seller will think he's just part of the company as an employee, not actually the person that's buying it. So now looking at age-wise, they don't really care because they're thinking you're just one of you're just one of an employee in a company. But to me, when I first started, if I would have represent, and Brian, to me, it really all comes down to, and as you go along, you will find out that the better you talk to seller will never ask you that kind of questions. Like, what's your office? What's your office? Who's your manager, etc. It's being able to have to talk to them with confidence. They will not ask you any of that questions. So over time, if you get more comfortable talking to them, that question will never come up. And I promise you, once you represent a company, it's going to be so much easier for you to tie these deals up on the contract and being able to negotiate with them. And you won't have an issue with age-wise or whatever it is. But right now, I guess with partner-wise, it seems like it's working with you. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Direct mail, you're using list source, you're targeting absentee owner, and you're spending about $100, $150 a month. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, man. So now let's get into the deal. How did you found this deal?
How did I what?
How did you found this deal? Was it off a banner sign, direct mail, cold call?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this was off a banner sign. It's funny because the message on my banner sign is actually I actually went with something different this time. It said sell your house to Big Papa. Sell your house to Big Papa. Once I got it under contract, Kong, I even asked the seller, I was like, so how many signs or investors did you call before me? And she told me she called 3. she called 3, and the reason she went with me is because the other investors gave her attitude, and she just felt more confident going with me, and because of my sign, it was clever, it was outstanding, it was standing out. So that's another good thing too. Like, you have to show the seller that you're actually there to help them and not just chasing the money. So yeah.
Good, man. Good. Okay, so so it came off of Bandit sign. You lock it up for $345, right?
Yeah.
And so
354.
I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm sorry. $354. You lock it up for $354, and you went out and you met with the seller at the property.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, is the property, is it vacant, occupied, rented?
It's vacant.
Okay, it's vacant.
It was yeah. Go ahead.
No. You go ahead, Brian.
So yeah, basically it was a vacant. She lived with her husband. Her husband passed away, I believe, a year ago. So when her husband passed away, she moved with her daughter. She moved with her daughter, and so basically the house was left vacant. It was pretty beat up. Not too bad, but the paint it didn't need paint. It was the grass wasn't cut. The front was, it just looked, you could straight out tell it was vacant.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's vacant. You got it locked up for $354. Now, did the seller ask you for any earnest money?
I gave her $10, man.
See, you guys, man. I have people commenting about, oh yeah, what if I lose my earnings? What if I don't have the money? $10 earnest money. Come on, you can go and scrape up $10 earnest money.
Yeah, exactly. She didn't even bring it up. I just wrote it down on the paper, and she's like, $10, and I just gave it to her. She was laughing about it. She was she understood that it wasn't much of a big deal, because I told her it was just, I used the 1-page contract, Kong, so I had told her there's more paperwork to come, and so she understood.
Cool, man. It must have been your charms.
Yeah.
So $10, and she just laughed. Okay, cool. So the earnest money was $10. Now you sent it out to your buyer. So you're saying the first buyer that you talked to came in from another wholesaler?
Yeah, he came from my partner. Like I said, he ended up backing out because he wanted he didn't end up backing out. We just ended up backing away from him because he wanted an inspection period. He wanted a 7-day inspection period. And we just weren't willing to take that long because, the seller wanted it so fast. We needed it closed quickly. So, we just didn't want to take the chance. So we just went with, my wholesaler partner. He has another buyer, which was the one that ended up closing on it. So we went with him. Gotcha,
man. So how long do you lock the property up under contract for?
I got it for 30 days.
Okay, so you lock.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So you lock it up under contract for 30 days with a $10,000 earnest money. And how long did it took you to find your buyer?
It took me the next day.
So gotcha. So one day to find your buyers, and that's coming from the 5 months that you were in the business networking with people.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And so this buyer came from another wholesaler of yours.
Yeah, he did. It came from my partner.
Okay, gotcha. And how did you come across him?
My partner?
Yeah.
He was the one that was mentoring me.
Gotcha. Okay. So your mentor's the one that brought you this wholesaler that passed the buyer, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, my question is, on your first buyer, the guy that asked for the 7-day inspection, has he walked through the property?
Yeah, he came to watch it. We were told that he was going to be the contractor, so it wasn't actually the buyer, but it turns out that he ended up saying, yeah, I'm not the contractor, I'm the partner, so that's why I'm going to need another contractor to come in. It was just very weird. What was weird too, Kong, is that when I had met up with them, I met up with the guy and the seller. Once we left, once he took off, he came back. I was still staying with the seller talking to her, and he came back 6 minutes later, 5 to 6 minutes later, and he just drove past. And he came up to me and he saw that I saw him, so he just wanted to play it off like, oh hey, so just give me a call, right? And I was like, well, why is this guy coming back? So that just was all suspicious calling. So I didn't even want to mess with that, to be honest. So I just said, let's just move on to the next.
I agree, man. That's pretty shady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. So basically, he walks the property with you and the seller. So you did a showing where you went there, met up with the seller, and met up with the buyer. And what did you tell the seller? You tell the seller is the contractor, partner, like what?
I told him it was a contractor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when the buyer got there, he said he wasn't. He told the seller he wasn't a contractor.
No, he told me that. He told me that when we were just walking around.
Sure.
But he never told anything to the seller. I made sure to keep the seller away. Basically, as well, was that I guess the seller called up her daughter, and her daughter came down. So they were just talking. So while me and the buyer were walking the property, they were just in the living room just talking. Taking last minute things. They took the pictures. So that's basically how I separated them.
Gotcha. Cool, man. So basically he walks the property, and then he came back and asked you that he wants a 7 days inspection on this property.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. And you said, no, let's go ahead and move on and find another buyer for it, right?
Yeah.
Now, with the seller, did you, when you tied the deal up on the contract, did you told the seller that as a buyer, you're going to pay for all the closing costs, or what's that?
Yeah, I told her that. Cool.
Okay. So that gets passed on to the buyer. So now let's talk about the second buyer. So the second buyer, the second buyer also came from your mentor, correct?
Yes.
And he didn't tell you that he was a wholesaler?
He didn't tell me. This was actually the first time my mentor used him. So he didn't know as well. He came with his partner, and they just walked. I was there with the seller, so they just walked it. They seemed like they were cash buyers. Like I didn't think much of it. They even had their little investing shirts and little polos everybody's wearing with their logo on it. So I thought they were serious. I thought they were legit, which they are, but they never came out and told me that they were going to wholesale it. They told me, we're going to buy it. So they were wholesalers. I ended up finding out that they sold it. They ended up selling it for $400.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so they made quite money, man.
Gotcha. Okay, so basically, the guy didn't come out and tell you that he was a wholesaler. He came to you guys saying that he's the buyer.
Yes.
And then, so when you get the showing on the property, when the seller's there with all these BMW and kind of like a drug gang came in.
Exactly. What had happened as well, Kong, is that I actually came like 5 minutes late. So when I showed up, the seller was already with the neighbor. She was inside her neighbor's house. I came up to the buyer and I told him, what's going on with the seller, what's going on. Like, oh, she just went to her neighbor's house. She gave me the keys. Everything's okay. And I was like, okay, so what's up with all these people here? And like, he just told me straight up, like, oh, well, these are the foundation experts. And I was like, come on, man, like foundation experts pulling up in Teslas. And then he just came out straight. I just told him, you're wholesaling it, right? Just tell me. He's like, yeah, we wholesale, but we close too. And we just wanted to come out and see whether the numbers look right, whether we're gonna close on it ourselves or if we're gonna wholesale it. So that's what he told me. I got on the phone with my mentor and I told him, look at all these people told me, man, I don't know, what should I do? But he told me that he told me not to worry about it, man. Just go with the flow, see what happens. We have a contract with the seller. There's no way to go behind us. So that's basically how it went.
Gotcha. Okay. So the deal. So basically, the deal. When you got the property locked up with that buyer, how long did they say that they were going to close on it, and what was the deposit that they had to put down?
Okay, so they were going to close in 10 days. They're supposed to close in 10 days. They ended up depositing $3,000. So that's when we started to calm down. We started to know that they were serious because they put down the deposit. That's when I started to calm down more. It just caught me off guard, to be honest with you, Kong, because, I didn't expect all this, but, it went smooth. It went how it went, but now I know.
Yeah.
Now I know. Yeah, so.
Cool, man. So, so basically now when it comes, so so pretty much the buyer tell you, hey, we like the property, we're ready, we're going to do a 10-day closing on it. And now did they tell you, or did you ask them about the deposit? Did they tell you how much they want to put down, or did you tell them the amount?
Actually, Kong, I didn't even tell them about the deposit, to be honest with you. They ended up just depositing it on themselves. I just said, actually, I didn't even end up bringing it up. I was thinking that my mentor was going to handle it since he was part of the deal as well. So I figured he would, since it's his buyer, he's going to figure it out with them. So I didn't really ask them about it. So they just ended up depositing it on their own.
Gotcha. Okay. And they end up using, I guess you guys end up using your title company or their title company?
They ended up using theirs.
Okay. So you had them use their title company instead of yours?
No, yeah, they used theirs, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't have a title company lined up.
Oh, okay. So your mentor didn't have a title company?
He did, but, they wanted to go with theirs. And, I guess we just wanted it to go smooth as possible. They said they were going to put the money up, so, we just went with them.
Gotcha. Okay. Hey, not a problem at all. So, so Brian, so let me see here. So, so the split would have been 6,500. How did you end up? Because you tied up for under for 340, 354, and then you send it out to your buyer for 367. The difference is 13,000. So I guess you split half with your mentor, correct?
Yeah. So this is what happened, Con. So once we were gonna close, the wholesalers actually called us and said, "Hey, man, so we're paying all the closing costs, but the price is kind of tight already. You think you can help us out with the sales transfer tax?" Which came out to 2,000, I believe, 2,100 or 2,000. So I just said, yeah, man, they just split it. I didn't want to. They were already taking too long. I just didn't want to put it up with more, so we just split it up. We split it up with my partner and them. So.
Gotcha. Okay. So basically, the other guy came. So your buyer, your wholesaler guy, came back, and man, I mean, he's already making money, but he's came back and trying to nitpick you guys. But hey, you know what? The most important thing is getting the deal done, and I'm on the same page with you on that. It's just get this deal off the board, get it done, get it closed, get the money.
Yeah.
And just move on to the next one. That's good. So basically, he closed on it, or did he assign it to another buyer?
So he closed on it. He double closed. He did. I guess he did a double close. Yeah.
Dang, man. So he sold for 400.
That's what I heard. When I showed up, when I told you I showed up to the house and I seen all these buyers and everybody, one of the buyers actually came up to me and said, "So how much are you bidding and all this?" And I was like, "Man, I have this under contract." He's like, "Oh, I thought the other guy had under contract." Like, "Nah, we're working on it together." So he had told me that he ended up giving me his number. He's like, "Hey, man, if you ever come across anything else, call me first." So I guess something good did come out of it, Kong. I did end up getting some numbers. I'm pretty sure it pissed off the wholesaler, but I just got the contact info, and now I have some buyers to send out, some more buyers to send out to.
Good, man. Good. So the guy ended up locking it up with you, closed on it, and then did a double closing with another actual end buyer.
Yeah.
And his spread was 33K. That guy's a hustler, bro. But hey, you know what? The biggest thing is that, the biggest thing, to be honest, if this was me, I really don't care. My whole thing is, hey, you know what? I send this deal out for the 367. That's what I wanted, and we got the money that we wanted. Who cares what he's gonna make? So I respect your, and I definitely respect your mindset on that. It's like you just didn't really care. Hey, he makes some money, but who cares? Yeah. Something good came out of it. But yeah, I mean, he closed on it, and then he makes that. He makes 33 on the spread, so that's cool, man. Not a problem. Gotcha. So, hey, Brian, so basically, so now my question for you is that what kind of things that you going to do that you can share with everyone that you from this that you're going to do differently next time?
Okay, so I guess what I would say now is that I learned my lesson. I would say that I would be more, you know, upfront and stop being like more of a pushover, because that's basically, I guess they saw that I was young, and they basically thought, you know, this guy doesn't even know, he probably doesn't know what he's doing. So we're just gonna walk over him. And so basically, what I would say is that I would set my ground more firm next time. So that's basically what I would do more different. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well as make sure I get paid more, man.
Absolutely. Hey, now what is the ARV on this property?
So we thought the ARV was gonna be 440.
Okay.
Basically what I thought they got away with more, Kong, was because it had like a little back unit that I guess they were thinking they could probably construct into something else. I'm basically thinking that's how they got that much of more money. You know, at the time I didn't really know. I just thought they were gonna tear that down, you know, no worries. But I guess they saw something else from it. They saw more opportunity on it. So I guess that really did raise up the value.
Gotcha. Okay. So, and you guys, the thing is, it's okay to make that kind of mistake when you first started out. The biggest thing is getting the deal done and close on it.
Yeah.
And that's are kind of things that will come over time with experience. You'll be able to know what, because adding an ADU or an extra unit or what you can put onto the property, all right, that's increased the ARV, which means you can increase your assignment fee. But when you first start out, you probably not going to know. You're probably not going to know that. You just think, okay, here's the property, here's the value. But because of other people, they have more experience in the business, they will actually know, and then that's how they get their money. So Brian, so at the time you guys estimated it worth about 440, you tied up for 354. So what was the repair on it?
The repairs were, I believe they were 20 to 25 grand.
Huh. Okay. So I guess whoever bought this, if that was the ARV, they must have, because obviously the numbers, it's just not, the numbers doesn't seem like it's really there.
Yeah.
So, so maybe it could have been a rental, but because your buyer must have saw something in the property, which is obviously, and that's how he's able to make his money on top of that.
Yeah.
And Brian, this is just my personal opinion on this and things like that. Do you mind if I give you a couple of tips?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool, man. So Brian, the next time, for those of you who felt like, you know what, you got to stand your ground, or maybe when you first start out, you don't have that confidence yet. And, because I was there, you don't have that confidence yet because you haven't closed any deals, or plus you don't know how things work. So you get pushed over from the seller, you get pushed over from, especially the buyer. Do this one thing, and I'll promise you it's going to help you solve a lot of that issue. It's always represent not you, but always think in your mind that you got to get approval from somebody else, your partners, your team, whatever it is, and keep on thinking in your mind that you are just part of the employee of the partnership, of a company, of a group of people, whatever it is, but just as an employee. So when you come to your buyer, you'd be like, well, here, they'd be like, oh, here's the price. You'd be like, well, you know what, okay, not a problem. Okay, I got your number. I'll have to bring this back, or I have to call my partners, or I have to call my team manager, or whatever it is, to see if we can get approval on this, etc. Now they know that they have to go over. So they're not directly with you, but they have to go over a wall, right?
Yeah.
So basically, they have to go over something, and not with you, because when they deal directly with you, they can talk to you, they can feel the energy, they can feel your voice, they can get the tone of voice and know that, okay, are you doing the game? Can they push you over? Can they take advantage of you? But if you're just part of a company, and if you're on the phone, you don't know what you're really talking about, then I would know, okay, well, he must be new into the company. They must have just hired him. Now he got to get approval from the actual team manager or whoever it is in the back that really control this deal. And that's what you want to know, is you want to let them know that I don't control this deal, someone else control this deal. And for me, I got to be the middleman to try to put this together. And, you know, so basically, so for me, it works like that because I can come back and the buyer will be like, well, you know, we're going to put $3,000 deposit. Well, okay, $3,000 deposit. You know what? Call them back. Hey, my team manager or my partners said $3,000 is not enough for this deal. We need $5,000. So can you do that? So, you know, instead of you coming back and negotiating directly with them, because maybe your tone of voice, you know, couldn't come off as confident, but you say, hey, my team manager, you know, my team manager said, hey, because basically, you guys, when you, and this is so important, when you do a deal with the buyer, and if they are ready to go, you want to make sure that you can get them to put the non-refundable deposit as much as possible. I never go any less than 5. Our number is 10 to 15. I even get them to put 20,000 non-refundable. Obviously, it's depending on the assignment fee. My thing is, if my assignment fee was like 15 or 20,000, I tell the buyer to put everything in. And I have gotten deposit where the buyer wants to put down, because this is a $1.5 million deal, and I got a buyer to saying, oh yeah, you know, I'm just gonna put 10,000. That's all they want to put down is 10,000. And then we turn around and I said, that's not gonna work. My team manager said, hey, we need a $65,000 assignment fee. Because our assignment fee was like $80,000, so we tell them that they need to put $65,000. Because you guys got to understand is you want to get the buyer, and since it's a larger deals, it's harder to find the cash buyer. So we want to make sure that, you know, if they said they're ready to go, that we want to get them locked in, knowing that if they're going to walk away, they're going to lose a lot of money. So sometimes $3,000 is just not enough to a buyer. They'll walk away. So you pretty much want them to stick into this deal. And if they're going to walk away, it's going to be painful, man. It's going to be painful for them. You don't want them to walk away, all right? You don't want to start over again and find your buyer. You want to lock them in, and you want to put them as much down as you can. Now, obviously, in every situation can be different. If you work with this buyer multiple times already, and you guys already gained that trust and that relationship, and they said, hey, you know what? I'm also working on other multiple deal. You know, could we work out on it a little bit on the fee? So it really depends. But if I were you, I would just say, hey, you want to get them to put down as much as you can, and all at a time. You guys got to also do is buyer sometimes will ask you, okay, Brian. Buyer will say, hey, so how much earnest money or deposit you want to put down? And I let them know up front, this is a non-refundable deposit. It's not an earnest money that you're gonna get back. It's a non-refundable deposit, all right? And if they're a serious buyer, they know, they already did their walkthrough, they already did their inspections, and they are ready to go. But when they ask you how much money, you ask them back, well, how much can you put down? All right, and they say, oh, well, you know what, okay, we can do $1,000. Then you can say, well, you know what, I don't think that's gonna work, you know, my company or my team, when we typically do these kind of deals, we're looking more of this number, right? Yeah. So you wanna get them locked in and put down as much as you can, so when they walk away, you'll be able to give the seller some money. If the deal falls apart, you know, if you lose your earnest money, you'll be able to give the seller some money, so they're happy, but you still be able to walk away with some money because of all the time that you have put into it, all right? So anyways, Brian, hey man, dude, at the age of 18, and you discovered this business, I wish I would have discovered wholesaling when I was 18, dude. I would have been a different level of where I'm at right now, but obviously I'm grateful and I'm blessed, and I'm grateful and thankful to have you a part of the family and a part of the channel, and also too is for you to get on and to share your stories at how young you are, and you're able to take action, apply what you learn, and actually making this happen, man. And since you discovered this business, I'm seeing a really bright future for you, bro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
So, Brian, you know what? So before we end this here, is there any tips, advice that you can give for others that wants to start out in this business and how they can get their first wholesale deal done?
I would say just be persistent, Kong. Just stay persistent. You know, when I initially started, I have doubts, but I never in my mind set that I'm gonna quit. You know, I basically put it, you know, I'm gonna have to do this, I have no other choice. You know, I'm not going to college. I'm not going to school. So I just basically put my all in and basically just stay persistent with it. You know, and don't let, I had like 4 contracts just fall. Don't let that stop you. Just keep going.
Dude, that's awesome, man. And you know, and a lot of times when we first start out too, and we start putting deals under contract, and things just don't work out and it falls apart, it really drains your energy down. It really brings you down, and then your confidence levels goes down because you're like, oh man, maybe this is not for me. I try, but it doesn't seem like it's worked. But Brian, dude, great. So much power to you, man, for being persistent and just keep on pushing and keep on going and making it happen, dude. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
So now, Brian, for those that wants to reach out to you, connect with you, you're going to be famous. So how can they connect with you if they're in the Los Angeles area? Yeah,
definitely. So I have Instagram. You can reach out to me on Instagram. Brian Alejandre 1. So it's BrianAlejandre and then 1.
Awesome, man. So I'll make sure I put that in the descriptions. So this is up to you, Brian. Your phone's gonna blow up. You want to, you know, if there. So beside Instagram, is there any other media that people can connect with you?
I guess Facebook. Brian Alejandre. Just search me up there and connect with me there.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you so much, man, for your time and for your stories. I hope this will inspire you guys to go out there and for those of you, you know, for all the excuse, I'm too young or whatever it is, take Brian's stories and go out there and make it happen. Thanks a lot, Brian.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, man.
Take care, man.